Marc here for Ringside Intel. It's time to look at one of our two big Elimination Chamber matches coming at you this Saturday at 5 a.m. Eastern from Perth, Australia, streaming on Peacock. We're going to look at the men's Elimination Chamber match now. The winner of this match is set to face Seth Rollins for his world title at Wrestlemania. This one is interesting, I gotta say. This is one that I'm not exactly sure how to predict, although I think all the storyline indications are heading in a certain direction. That doesn't mean it's necessarily what we're going to get. It's certainly more difficult to predict than the women's Elimination Chamber. Be sure to check out my prediction video on that one as well. But let's run down the lineup and see if we can figure this one out. First, and I will say, this is honestly one of the most star-studded Elimination Chambers that we've seen in a long time. Anyone here is really a credible WrestleMania main eventer, and almost anyone I could actually see winning this. Maybe I'll do this from least likely to most likely. So I'll start with my least likely, and it's no knock on him. He's a great worker. He's elevated himself quite a bit since returning to WWE a couple of years ago. That is Bobby Lashley. He's already main evented WrestleMania. He's already had a big feud with Drew McIntyre a few years ago, and is certainly worthy both as a worker and a performer of a WrestleMania spot, a WrestleMania main event. In theory, but not really this year. He only recently started coming back. He has his little group with the Street Profits, and now they've been feuding with Karrion Kross's group, the Final Testament. I think that might be their destination. I'm not sure for WrestleMania if they're gonna, if that feud is worthy of a match there, but I do think that feud is continuing. So if anything, we might see the Final Testament somehow get involved in the Elimination Chamber. I know it's supposed to keep people out, but this is wrestling. Things happen, and cost Lashley his spot. But there's just no way out of all these competitors, I can pretty much rule out Bobby Lashley as winning the Elimination Chamber here. Moving on, we've got LA Knight, someone who is, a year ago, look where he was a year ago. Was he even on the card a year ago? But he had just been feuding with Bray Wyatt, God rest his soul, trying to elevate his new character. But it was really, that feud is really what elevated LA Knight and what really put him in the eyes of so many people. And he has just been one of the hottest stars in the last year. I do think he peaked a little early, and I think they burned him out a little too quickly by just shunting him to this match with Roman Reigns at Crown Jewel last year. He seems he's lost a little bit of his heat then, but they can easily reignite him if they want. Again, though, not sure I see him winning this one. There's been a lot of rumors that he's going to be paired with Logan Paul at WrestleMania, and I'll give you my thoughts on that in a second. I'm not sure, but if that's the case, I do expect you to see that heat up in this match. It seemed they were teasing a little feud with AJ Styles. Maybe that's still in the air. That I can't say that match really interests me all that much. LA Knight and Logan Paul interests me a lot more, both on the mic and the build up to it and in the ring. So I expect some kind of interaction between LA Knight and Logan Paul. I don't see LA Knight taking this thing, but he should be an interesting part of the match. Moving on to Logan Paul. Now, he has even stated his intention is to win the Elimination Chamber and have a rematch with Seth Rollins. I loved their match last year at WrestleMania. I thought it was honestly one of my favorite matches. I'm not saying it was one of the best matches. There's a number of matches that you could certainly say on a work rate or whatever, and Dave Meltzer would say is ranked higher, but in terms of my fun and my enjoyment, that was absolutely one of my favorite matches last year. Can't say I'd mind seeing it again. I don't think that's what's going to happen for a couple reasons. First of all, Logan Paul is the U.S. champion. Maybe he could lose it between now and then and main event WrestleMania, or be a double champion. That's been done before, so it's certainly possible. He's still not done with Kevin Owens either, though, so I'm kind of curious how this is all going to work out. He got out of the Royal Rumble against Kevin Owens by the skin of his teeth after Owens was disqualified, and that feud has still been teased. So I don't think we're done with that. Maybe we're just going to see it on a SmackDown. Maybe that's not the WrestleMania main event. Maybe a feud with LA Knight starts, and maybe there's a three-way feud. I'm not really sure. I don't think Logan Paul is going to win this one, though, and I think that's for the same reason that Kevin Owens is not going to win this one. I think they're going to stay involved together. That might just be, again, in the short term. Maybe there'll be a blow-off match. Maybe it's all three of them somehow in the mix, Owens and Paul and LA Knight. I'm not really sure, but I don't think any of them, for that reason, are going to be elevated to the main event this year. Now that leaves us two options, two pretty intriguing options, and I'm really, really torn on this one. The smart money here, in many ways, says Drew McIntyre should win. And I kind of do think Drew McIntyre should win. Drew has been the best thing on Raw for the last 3 months. Even better since he started wearing the I killed CM Punk's career t-shirt. And what's so great about Drew's character is he does tell the truth. He does say the things we're all thinking. He does tell us that every Bloodline match is going to end with Solo Sikoa interfering, just like they did in his match at Clash of the Castle. There are so many interesting things about Drew's character. He's done incredible heel work, and he really deserves this spot. I would love to see him take this into WrestleMania and finally get the title back. I'm not sure I see it happening for a couple reasons. One is that his contract is up, and he has not re-signed by all accounts, and it's hard for me to see them putting him into the WrestleMania main event with that contract pending. But I still do have a very strong feeling that Drew could win. But let's talk about one more competitor first. That is Randy Orton. Now, Randy Orton is someone who I've been trying to, in my head, wrap around where he fits into WrestleMania, and I've not really been able to figure it out. And that does make me think, because we've been kind of quiet on Randy Orton lately, maybe he could win. I could actually see Randy Orton winning this. I do think it's going to come down. I think the Chamber's going to start with Drew and Randy, and I think it's going to end with Drew and Randy. I could see Randy Orton winning this one. Think about it. Cody, who I do believe is going to finish the story at WrestleMania, if that's the case, one would think he goes to SmackDown with that title. And that leaves a huge hole on Raw. You need someone else on Raw. Randy just came back. He's as big a babyface as you could ever be right now. I could see him maybe taking that title and heading to Raw. And maybe having some twists and turns along the way that makes that match more interesting. Maybe even including a Drew McIntyre. Maybe he wins the Money in the Bank and inserts himself into that match and still walks out of WrestleMania as the champion. I'm not sure. I'm torn on this one. A part of me wants to go with Randy. I just don't quite see it happening. I think I'm going to go with Drew on this one, and I could be proven wrong. But I am going to predict Drew McIntyre because, look, he's been setting up his feuds with Rollins this whole time. He's been setting up a feud with CM Punk. He has great feuds built in. Maybe this thing about the contract is true. Maybe it's not. Maybe they've worked out a deal and it just hasn't come out yet. But he's been putting on the best performances of his career, both in the ring and on the mic. It's been all about the world title for him. I don't really know where he goes if he doesn't win this match, except maybe back to Sami Zayn. That feud has been brewing, and it's possible maybe Sami somehow gets involved in the Elimination Chamber. Sami just said he's moving on from Drew, which makes you think maybe he's not moving on from Drew. So that could be something that takes him out, or perhaps if Drew wins the Elimination Chamber, perhaps somehow Sami works his way into that match. I'm not really sure. In the end, although I will admit it's pretty tough, I am going to take Drew McIntyre to win this men's Elimination Chamber. However, don't be completely surprised if we get a little bit of more of a left field result and we see Randy Orton winning this thing. Where that leads into WrestleMania, I'm not really sure, because again, a Seth Randy face versus face match doesn't really feel like a huge angle to me. So remains to be seen. I do think this men's Elimination Chamber match is the match I am looking forward to the most this week, mostly because of, like I said, of the unpredictability of it and the fact that there are just 6 awesome characters and awesome workers that I know are going to put on a hell of a match in this thing. Really looking forward to the Elimination Chamber. My friends, don't forget, we're going to be doing a lot more content here at the Ringside Intel YouTube channel, so be sure to hit that subscribe button and ring that little notification bell so you don't miss any of the great content from the team here at Ringside Intel.